When I first started dog training, I wish these were the only things that I ever focused on when it came to dog behaviour and health and happiness. And that is teaching your dog to sit, teaching them to go to a safe place, teaching them to leave something that's forbidden or dangerous, and teaching them to come. So when it comes to teaching your dog to sit, I'm not going to ask Cashew to do that. I'm going to work with Harry because it's tricky for Cashew to sit, even though he's just sat by me, because he's got a sore knee. So I'm not going to continuously ask him to do that. But now that he's comfortable there, he can just sort of stay there. And that's my daughter in the background as well. All right, so Harry, see how he just did that behaviour without me asking? That's so valuable. I want you to reward your dog anytime they volunteer to do a behaviour that you desire. You've got to be there with some really high energy praise and some yummy treats in your pocket. So why do we teach a dog to sit? Well, there's a couple of reasons why I like to teach a dog to sit. The first one is to teach them impulse control. So if they're really excitable and you need to get them to do something, getting them to sit really helps them to learn to control their emotions and their impulses. The other reason I like dogs to learn to sit is so that you can redirect a behaviour. If your dog's a little bit nervous about another dog walking past, instead of allowing them to fixate on that dog and feel completely out of control, not able to predict what's going on and then having a bit of a freak out, giving them a different behaviour is really useful. And just a simple sit is a great way to redirect that emotion and behaviour. So how do you get a dog to sit? Well, they already know how to do the sit. A lot of it is you capturing the behaviour or luring them. So that's once again having a really delicious treat and getting their attention. No distractions if possible. And hey, luring them. So good boy. So just holding the food above their nose is ideal. If you hold it too high, you'll encourage your dog to jump up, and that's not what we want to do. So just above the nose, and as the bum hits the ground, you say sit, and you release the food, okay? Do that over and over and over, and it's really good in terms of bonding with your puppy or your rescue dog, but it's also really good at teaching them that when I want something, if I opt to sit, I often get it. So it's a really good way to empower them, give them confidence, and give them self-control as well. Now, what about teaching your dog to go to their safe place? Why do we do that? Well, there's a few reasons why. Probably the most important thing is that if your dog's a little bit unsure of a situation, getting them to go somewhere where they feel safe, where positive things always happen, is really valuable. Now, that could be their regular dog bed. It could be a mat that you take traveling with you. It could be a crate, as long as you make sure that that crate is a really positive experience and they're not forced to go in there and that they're not punished in there. These are really great ways to reinforce that safe place. Now, how do you get a dog to go into their safe place? Well, there's a couple of ways to do this. What will often happen is your puppy or your rescue dog will choose or locate somewhere in your home where they feel most safe and most comfortable. Opt for that space and have it really comfy and safe where no one else can access them. That could be in your bedroom, it could be behind the couch. Follow your puppy's guidance as to where they feel most safe. Generally, that shouldn't be on your lap or in your arms because you cannot offer that all the time, and that can create some other behaviour problems and concerns. Having a space like this is definitely worthwhile. So how do we do it? Well, we lure our dog once again with really high value food and very little distraction. Just having him engage with me, he's offering to sit for me anyway. He's offering his paw because it seems like someone's talking that before I rescued him. Getting his attention and luring him into his bed. Now, when all 4 feet are in the bed, that's when I magically open my hand and he gets rewarded for it. If it's just 2 feet, he'll only learn that he needs to put 2 feet in to get rewarded. Does that make sense? So we've got to opt for the behaviour that we want. Now, when he doesn't need to be in his safe place, you can say free and lure him out and give him a good pat. Good boy, well done. Let's try it again. I'm not saying anything yet because he doesn't know what this means. Good boy. You can say the word yes or good boy. It doesn't really matter. And then free. Let him come out of his safe place. And look, he's getting really excited about this because it's becoming enjoyable. And I tell you what's enjoyable for me as well. All right, now what we can do is we can introduce a cue, a word or a phrase that lets him know that this is what we'd like him to do. In your bed. Notice how I only say it when he's doing the behaviour. So when 4 feet are in the bed, I say it and then I reward him for it. Free, and I cue him out of the bed before he does that himself because I want to let him know that there's a job that he needs to do, and I'm going to tell him what to do. Okay. In your bed. Good boy. Well done. Free. Get him out of position so we can do it again. We'll do it one more time. In your bed. Starting to introduce the cue before his forefeeder and then go, good boy. Well done. And then we can cue him out. What you can do now is I can lure him with this hand, but the food is actually in the other hand. So we're actually using this as a gesture. All right, ready? In your bed, good boy, and the food's coming from the other hand. Really fun. So how do you get a dog to leave an item that could be dangerous or something that you just don't want them to be engaging with at that time? It's the leave it cue. Now, how do you get a dog to leave it, without any training? Well, you can't. You've got to once again teach them what you want through understanding their body language, reinforcing the behaviors you want, and being patient and respectful. Remember that CPR, consistency, patience, and respect is invaluable when it comes to building relationships. So I've got something here that Harry finds mildly engaging. If I were to start with perhaps a tennis ball, there's no way that I would be able to successfully train him to do that straight away. So let's start with something that's kind of cool, but not really that cool. What I'll do is I'll have him on lead with his harness on, and I'm just going to throw this just out of reach, let him see it. And when he looks back at me, I'm going to give him some really, really yummy food, and maybe we can have a play with the ball. So he gets what he wants, plus he gets extra treats from my hand as well. So let's get his attention. Hey, Harry. Okay. That was pretty good. Well done, buddy. That was very impressive. Let's try that again. So just out of reach. Hey, Harry, maybe you can get a little bit excited. Yeah, good boy. As soon as he looks back at me, he gets the food, plus he gets to have a little play. Okay, you can even cue that word. Okay, you can have a play. Good boy. Well done. He loves to think, don't you, buddy? All right, we'll do it one more time. He's allowed to look, but when he looks back at me, yay, good boy. Well done. And we can have a little bit of a play. Good boy. Then you can start to introduce the words leave it. So as you throw the item out of reach, remember you can't let your dog get to it because then they're going to learn that when they lunge for it, they get it. Throwing it just out of reach, using the words leave it, and then rewarding him when he looks back at me. Leave it. Good boy. Well done. Good. Once again, such a fun game and such an important thing to teach a dog. Last but not least, I reckon this is the most important thing to ever teach your dog ever, and that is to come when they're called. So, how do you do that? Well, you've got to be really, really fun, consistent, patient, and respectful. Start inside the home with their food, with high value rewards, praise, and toys. And when they're already coming towards you, introduce the word come and make it really, really positive. That might be when you're putting their dinner down, when you want to play, when you've got a toy. When they're coming to you, use that word come. So capturing that behavior is really, really useful when you're teaching them this cue. Also, once again, make you the most wonderful part of the environment if you can. So you need to start in low distractions. You wouldn't start in a park area. You would start inside the home where they're just focusing on you and you're the most interesting thing. Then you might go to the backyard or the front yard or in a little area that's a little bit new under a couple of distractions, but always on lead or a long line, because then you can manage the behavior much better. There's no point letting a dog off the lead and then calling them and they don't come, because what are you teaching them? You're teaching them that everything that's coming out of your mouth has absolutely no meaning or value. Once you've worked really hard on that recall and that CPR, that consistency, patience, and respect, then you can let your dog off the lead, because you know 100% of the time he or she is going to want to come back to you because you're the best part of the whole experience.